Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. So the Tesla Cybertruck and the Tesla Model 3 upgraded are hitting the roads in the USA, and there's some interesting design choices which I want to go over with you. So have a look for yourself. The first one is regarding hazard lights.
There are a couple of changes around the back as well, as you'd expect from a facelift, including this lower bumper, which looks slightly nicer than it did before, and also some redesigned rear lights. I'm going to explain why I've got the hazard lights on, because the light situation on this car is quite interesting. These lights are actually all connected to the boot lid, so when you open them, look, the lights actually disappear, which is perhaps not the safest thing in the world. But these lower lights, that's where your hazard lights and indicators will live if your boot is open. So if you've got an IKEA wardrobe in the back of the car, or you've broken down on the hard shoulder. Apart from that, the boot itself,
So if you understand what's going on here, the basic gist of it is that most cars, when they design a trunk, the trunk goes up, but the lights stay stationary. Because the general gist of it is that it's more safe to have big hazard lights. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Do you care about hazard lights? Do you not care? Do you care about safety, or do you not care? That's going to be up to you. I'm sure the fanboys and fangirls will tell you it doesn't matter, but it is what it is. There's a couple other design choices which I thought were really interesting. And this regard is to gear shifting and turn signaling. So take a look for yourself.
other big talking point, and that is the steering wheel. I've got to say, it takes quite a bit of getting used to. When I first jumped into this car, the first thing I did was reach for invisible stalks to put it into gear and to indicate, and I kind of felt like an idiot because obviously there's nothing there. If you want to put it into drive or reverse, you've got to slow down to an appropriate speed and then slide it into drive or reverse. And if you want to indicate, you've got to use these capacitive buttons on the left-hand side. Now, it does take some time to get your head wrapped around it, particularly because the buttons keep moving. If you're on a bend, they're not on the left anymore. They might be up or down, or if you're going around a roundabout, they're constantly all over the place. So what I found was that I had to physically look at the steering wheel to identify exactly where they were located, a little known feature on this new Model 3. So let's say I park up against this wall, right? This car will actually select reverse or drive for me, depending on your surroundings. You don't have to do it, the car does it. So you get in, shut the door, put your seatbelt on, and instantly the car knows I've got a reverse. So I just tap the brake pedal, it goes into reverse, and now I accelerate and it goes backwards. How cool is that? Let's see if it works the other way around. So I'll go into drive and I'll reverse up against the exact same wall, and in theory, it should know that there's something behind me, and the gear that it selects should be drive instead of reverse. So, all right, there's a wall behind me. I put it into park, seatbelt off, door open, door shut. I've just got in, tap the brake. I'm going to accelerate. Will it go forward? Yeah. Very clever, isn't it? It knows your surroundings and will automatically select forward or reverse as necessary.
So there was a look at some of the design changes regarding gear shifting and turn signaling. I want to mention the gear shifting thing first. I'm not a big fan of the touch screens, and this is for not just gear shifting, for anything, be it your AC, be it your radio, et cetera, et cetera. I just feel like you take your eyes off the road way too much by using a touch screen. And I'd be curious your guys' thoughts on that. If you like the touch screens, just me, it's not my thing. I want physical knobs so I can keep my eyes on the road. Now, in terms of physical buttons, yes, it looks like Elon and the team have physical button in terms of a turn signal, but it's different than the traditional one, which is normally the stick. And you guys know when you drive a car, you just have that stick, you push it down, you go left, you push it up, you go right. You guys know how these things work. It's when you're driving a car. But when you make it buttons, that he was saying that when you're constantly moving the wheel around, that means the steering wheel, the buttons, right, the location of where they are going to be different. And so he found himself taking his eyes off the road to turn. So I think, these things together is just showing that Tesla's always about form over function. Or
the main difference are these headlights, which are a lot less froggy and are far more sleek than before. It gives the car a bit more of a handsome look, don't you think? Other changes include the fact it doesn't have the fog lights or the fog light trims that you get on the standard Model 3. And also down here, this air intake is a bit skinnier and a bit less in your face than on the previous car.
Sadly, the new Model 3 doesn't have any front fog lights, which on the previous car were positioned low down for better fog penetration. Since these aren't a legal requirement and Tesla love cutting costs, optimizing, they've been removed.
It's more about cost saving, meaning that they're removing things from the car They're going to tell you, hey, we're all about simplicity and innovation, but it's really about cost cutting. And you mentioned even like, you can remove fog lights, these kind of things, and that was on the front of the car. Moreover, more parts of review, and I've mentioned it, or I've noticed it on the Cybertruck and on the Tesla Model 3. People have been saying that the way the windshield design is, they don't really like how the dashboard reflection is kind of too big. But it is what it is. I'm sure the fanboys and fangirls will overlook all these flaws and still get the car. Hey, and you do you. Moreover, one thing I thought was interesting, we talked about this the last couple of days, is that Hertz, they're selling off their EVs. They're just not that practical. And also, too, they're getting burned with the price cuts, because like if you have a whole inventory of cars and then Tesla keeps cutting the cost of the new ones, it hurts the cost of the ones that you currently have on inventory or the one you have in your garage right now. Moreover, which I think was kind of interesting, is Tesla's actually been cutting in China even more. This just came out January 12, 2024, so obviously that's going to hurt their margins. And there's a really interesting thing as well, is that the Tesla Cybertruck actually went out to someone who is not a Tesla employee. So this was just reported on January 12th, and you can read the headlines here. Tesla Cybertruck gets delivered with ridiculous body defects, and they got pictures here. So basically, this is your panel gaps, and you guys can see it here. This is a new vehicle, right? Like brand new. And the panel's already starting to peel off. So not great. This is on the back left side, you guys can see. And then this looks like to be the door. I can see it right there. So I'll let you guys, make the decision on if you think that's good or bad. For me, if I'm going to pay over $100K for a car, I want my car to be, put together properly. That's just my opinion on that. But, according to the person who took the Cybertruck, and this is his garage, or her, could be her. So the person's garage, they're happy with their car. So I just want to be honest with you. They like their car. But yes, they did say there are panel gap issues. The other thing that they reported, and again, this is a non-Tesla employee. This is a quote from them. However, the right turn signal really bugs me. 30% of the time it doesn't work. I had to click on a specific spot to turn it on. This would definitely be an issue I'll address with Tesla. And then, he says here, with that being said, be your own judge at delivery. I surely hope Cybertruck's build quality improves over time. So, this person, like I said, I just want to tell you guys, he likes it, but, you got to decide, what you think for yourself. Moreover, which is kind of interesting because this has been off and on again, off and on, was been the whether or not you can resell your Cybertruck. So at least according to this person, they got the contract. So this is like the delivery agreement thing. And there's a part here where it says you can't sell it for $50K. Or you can't sell it, or you can sell it for $50K, but you can't sell it, but Tesla will possibly fine you $50,000. We had talked about this before in prior videos, whether or not you could resell your Tesla, like say you're unhappy with it or you just want to flip it, these kind of things, because inventory is probably going to be low on this stuff. But evidently it's back in there that Tesla's going to try to discourage people from flipping it. So anyway, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on the design choices on the new Teslas. What do you think about the turn signals, the hazard lights? Also, too, we talked about the gear shifting. And what do you think about panel gaps? Is this something that you should be concerned about, or are you completely unconcerned? And again, I'll remind you, this is a vehicle over 100K. So for me, if I'm going to spend that much, I want my vehicle to be in good working order. And also, too, I personally care about safety. But that's just me. Some people, they're all about form over function. But I'll just tell you guys, I'm old. I'm used to having my gauges and indicators and everything right in front of me. I prefer to keep it there, but the way the Teslas are designed, it's more keeping your eyes more to the right, and it is what it is. Maybe people are okay with that. I just don't like it, and I'm not a fan of touchscreens. So that's just my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours as well. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.